Haven't you learned by now that nothing can stop me?
Nothing except...
Huh? I was supposed to be working on and Beyond, but I guess I can host. Good evening, Internet World and Universe. This is OR Ash here. The Omnitrix is the single most powerful, versatile, and sought-after device in the Ben 10 multiverse, especially when it comes to Ben Prime. We've made an entire video breaking down every single feature the Omnitrix can do, but one of the most frustrating handicaps for Ben, and sometimes us as the audience, is when Ben doesn't get the correct alien he's selected to transform into. This trait gives the writers a broader range of scenarios to place Ben into, be it for comedic purposes, or to force Ben to problem solve in a different way other than hitting it really hard.
I think I might have a way to beat him.
If you say hit him really hard, I swear to God, I will kick you in the dick!
I guess we could hit him really hard together?
Whatever.
This has become a reoccurring theme throughout all 4 shows, but we've never been given a solid answer as to why this happens. Even when Ben receives the completed official Omnitrix, which is said to function exactly as Azmuth intends, he still has to struggle with getting an alien he wishes more often than not. Speculation on this topic was huge during the Ben 10 franchise's first initial run, but interest in this topic died down when we were apparently given an answer in the Ben 10 Omniverse episode For a Few Brains More, which originally aired November 30th, 2013. In the scene, Ben finally asks Azmuth why he never seems to get the alien he desires, to which Azmuth states that he expected more dexterity from Ben using the controls, claiming,
"Stop banging so hard on my Omnitrix. The impact sets the timeout function to a random... Hello?"
So that should settle it, right? Ben's been hitting the Omnitrix too hard, which randomizes his transformations, which does make sense, given the size of a Galvan, the nature of their technology. Ben's habit of slamming down the faceplate to transform was never the intended method to activate the device. This answer was satisfactory for the majority of the fan base, myself included, until I listened a little bit closer. You see, this scene isn't saying what you think it is. Although Ben is clearly asking Azmuth why he doesn't get the aliens he chooses, Azmuth is instead talking about how Ben's habit of hitting the watch causes the timeout function to randomize. This has been another issue with the Omnitrix, as the amount of time Ben can remain as an alien without master control has also had its fair share of inconsistencies. Transformations can last anywhere from a few seconds to seemingly hours, with no clear indication of how this is determined either. While Azmuth never really answered Ben's question, we'll never know where he was going with that explanation, as he quickly changes his train of thought to inspect Albedo's Ultimatrix. Perhaps his explanation for the random transformation time lengths really did have something to do with the inaccurate selection of Ben's aliens. But with the subtitles on, we can see for sure that Azmuth isn't talking about the mistransformations, thus never actually answering Ben's question. So is there another true answer to this question? Well, it depends on what you want to believe. Before fans mistakenly took this scene from Omniverse as their definitive answer, people were speculating on the topic as far back as the classic series. When Alien Force rolled around, series showrunner Dwayne McDuffie began the tradition of Ben 10 writers and staff answering questions on his site's message boards. Unfortunately, after Dwayne's passing, his site was eventually shut down, with fragments of it surviving through screenshots and random dates in the Wayback Machine. His spouse, Charlotte Fullerton, has stated both on Twitter and in an email subscription for the Dwayne McDuffie Fund that she fully intends to revive the website and restore all the old forums, but that day has still yet to come. But back then, when Dwayne was asked about why the Omnitrix didn't give him the right alien in the classic series but did in Alien Force, Dwayne answered by claiming that in the classic series, the Omnitrix was not working properly. This was causing many functional glitches. He used this to explain why the Omnitrix's badge could appear in random places in the first series, but always on the aliens' chests in Alien Force, saying that most species don't have wrists and having the badge in the center provides easy access to any alien that Ben becomes. He also uses this to explain why the aliens didn't all have green eyes as opposed to Alien Force, as he believed the green eyes represented Ben's soul unified through all his transformations. The white badge color was an indicator that the Omnitrix needed maintenance, which changed to green after recalibrating, showing that the Omnitrix was now working properly. This does seem like a solid explanation, but there are a few holes in this logic. For starters, in Alien Force Season 3, the Omnitrix breaks again, and Ben starts becoming the wrong alien again. Yet the Omnitrix's badge remains green. This broken Omnitrix theory also comes to a halt when you realize that even if it was true, it doesn't explain why Ben gets the wrong alien when using the Ultimatrix or the official Omnitrix either. Derek J. Wyatt, who worked on Omniverse, sort of fell into the role as the Ben 10 writer's new pseudo-ambassador and began answering questions on Formspring, Ask.fm, and Twitter, and still continues to answer questions to this day. Derek was asked many questions that were originally asked to Dwayne, and and has offered up a different perspective on what really was happening with the Omnitrix. For starters, he believes that the Omnitrix was supposed to allow the badge to appear in an assortment of areas, and limiting its location to the chest was the glitch. The white faceplate in the classic series didn't represent any error, but was actually a scratch guard that Ben never removed, but eventually fell off after some time. He takes this a step further by claiming that Alien Force and Ultimate Alien's transformations, mostly lacking clothes, was due to the Omnitrix glitching as well. While Derek was the art director of Omniverse and not the showrunner as Dwayne was, his word still holds up a lot of credibility. Many writers will back Derek up, believing he knew the Ben 10 franchise better than most people on the team, more specifically the classic series. Although his word can also be debunked as well. While Derek does offer up information on the first 3 series, he also has made it clear that he really doesn't have knowledge of any of the series, characters, or aliens that he did not work on. He also had a few memorable incidents of either contradicting himself or forgetting things he has answered previously, most notably the infamous "Alien X can destroy a multiverse in 6 thoughts" claim. And while some writers usually back up his statements, they have also strongly disagreed with his answers before too. It's safe to say that you can treat Derek's answers as an explanation for the sake of an explanation, as most of Derek's answers seem to be made up on the spot for fun. And who can really blame him? I mean, hell, I do that all the time. Watch any of my streams. So does that mean we should take Dwayne's word over Derek's? Well, no. As the same goes for Dwayne, he did not work on the classic series, and his message board's answers rarely ever come up in the show. Dwayne's answers don't really have too many contradictions to what happens in canon, but they're also never mentioned by any character either. So when it comes to what actually happens in the animated series itself, both Dwayne and Derek's explanations have little to no effect on what's happening in the show. And yes, it's obvious that the true answer is that it's all just aesthetic choices. While the Alien Force era liked the naked chest badges, Omniverse favored the varied badges and uniforms. However, both series seem to favor the idea of green eyes and green badges. Omniverse even makes young Ben's aliens have green eyes and badges just because it fits the art style better, even though they had different eyes and white badges in the classic series. As for an in-universe reason, an explanation you can subscribe to is that Dwayne's answer is true for the first 3 series up until Omniverse's episode "So Long and Thanks for All the Smoothies," when Ben remakes the universe as Alien X and accidentally changes around a lot of things. After the universe is altered, we can now say that Derek's answer is true. But again, this is all just speculation, and neither of their answers really come up in the show. So now that the initial Omniverse scene has been debunked and both Dwayne and Derek's answers can't be taken for sure, is there even a real answer? I'd say yes. And while it is a bit of a stretch, this theory is backed up by solid facts from the show. But even if it makes sense, we can only call it a theory. A Ben 10 theory! At the end of Omniverse, we see the scene that somehow makes it into every other video we do, where Ben accepts the idea that the Omnitrix isn't always compatible with his intentions, and that may be a good thing.
It always seems to give me the right alien, even when I want something else. I guess I should stop fighting it. It seems to know me better than me.
We've always been teased with the fact that the Omnitrix has some level of artificial intelligence, but it's never focused on too heavily. There are times where it seems like the Omnitrix is just a super smart computer, and others where it seems like it's practically alive. When Ben first receives the Omnitrix, it fuses to him and literally becomes part of him. In the future, we can see the Omnitrix grows more and more onto Ben, becoming an extension of himself. So if a part of Ben becomes the Omnitrix, wouldn't it be safe to say that a part of the Omnitrix becomes Ben? Things may get a little weird, but bear with me. Let's say the longer the Omnitrix remains on Ben's wrist, parts of Ben's intelligence, personality, and overall humanity start to be adopted and encoded into the Omnitrix. We've seen that the Omnitrix takes blank DNA and fuses it with Ben to create a new alien body unique to Ben. So we know that the Omnitrix is very experienced with entangling Ben's DNA with a large variety of creatures. So adapting some of Ben's DNA into the device itself seems like child's play. We've also seen that the Omnitrix and Ultimatrix accidentally bring Ben's aliens to life on more than one occasion. So we know that the Omnitrix is capable of artificially creating consciousness with intelligence that quantifies them as a sentient being. So perhaps the more that Ben uses the Omnitrix, the more that it comes to life. Whenever the Omnitrix speaks, we hear it speak in Ben's voice, as if it's adapting itself into Ben. When the Omnitrix was severed from Ben's arm, it was able to take full control of Ben's hand and manipulate its muscles to navigate around terrain, fight back, and pull off some pretty impressive parkour.
Okay, what's my hand doing?
It also appears to be able to see where it's going, and at one point even looks back at a dog chasing it, and moves faster. So the Omnitrix has adapted Ben's voice, and can even control parts of Ben when Ben's consciousness is not currently present in that body part. Whenever Ben has master control, Ben's able to change between alien forms just by thinking of an alien, showing the Omnitrix is definitely neurologically connected to Ben. This gives the Omnitrix a literal window into Ben's mind, where it's not just receiving commands, it's learning. Now we'll loop back to the quote from A New Dawn one more time, where Ben says, "It seems to know me better than me." Not that the Omnitrix is tactical or that it's able to fight the enemies for Ben, but that it actually seems to know Ben as a person. So, the Omnitrix has Ben's DNA, can create intelligent life, has Ben's voice, can control his body, can hear Ben's thoughts, and Ben himself even feels like the Omnitrix knows who he is and how he acts. Whenever Ben mistransforms, it can indeed be a setback. But Ben, being Ben, also seems to find a way to make it work. And it happens so many times that luck just doesn't seem to cut it anymore. There has to be some kind of intelligence behind all of this mistransforming. It seems that the more Ben uses the Omnitrix, the more the Omnitrix learns from Ben, and acts like a guardian angel, making sure that he always has the tools he needs to get the job done. It isn't always perfect at choosing which alien to turn Ben into, but hey, neither is Ben. And if we're saying that the Omnitrix gains its intelligence and personality from Ben, it makes sense that it can sometimes make a stupid decision just as easily as it gives Ben the key to save the day. It's undeniable that the Omnitrix is much smarter than we realized, and probably ever will know. And we'll probably never truly know why Ben is always turning into the wrong alien. But one thing's for sure, no matter which alien Ben becomes, when it's hero time, Ben will always give it his best shot.
Lasers call for Chroma Stone.
Humongousaur! If you're gonna give me the wrong guy all the time, why do you even have a dial?
Thank you guys so much for watching. You can stay up to date with all of our projects on Patreon and Discord, and watch us stream every week on our second channel, The Rust Bucket. You can also get commissions and read our comic over on our website, theinktank.co. Until then, I'm surviving. Are you? Peace.